Even though I've tried many kinds of raw meat, I have to admit this chef's skills match my taste perfectly. The fish melts in my mouth with a sweet flavor and a faint hint of blood.
Mr. Davis, you're quite the gourmet. Very few people can handle raw puffer fish without any preparation like you do.
You could say I'm addicted to eating raw meat. I enjoy the fresh taste and the natural flavor of it. Eating raw meat makes me feel excited, like a predator. My mother is the one who trained me to eat raw food. Isn't that right, Mum?
Don't joke around like that in front of adults, dear.
When I was 7, my father passed away suddenly, which sent my mother into a crisis. She blamed me for everything. Her pain, her misfortune. Even now, as an adult capable of supporting the whole family, the distance between my mother and me remains unbridgeable.
You don't look too well. Your digestive system probably hasn't adjusted yet. A glass of wine will help you feel better.
This is Charles, the private chef I recently hired. His cooking skills are flawless, and he's also very observant. Truthfully, I'm feeling a bit uncomfortable, but the sweet aroma of the wine makes me feel relaxed. I suddenly want to share my thoughts and be heard. If you were locked under the stairs for 7 days, starved to the point of eating live rats, you wouldn't feel any sympathy for her either.
I'm really sorry. It sounds like you didn't have an easy childhood.
It's fine. I've already figured out a way to make her suffer.
By eating raw meat in front of her? You're quite fascinating.
After that night, Charles and I became even closer. Charles quickly understood my health condition and knew my desire to replace my daily meals entirely with raw meat. So he prepared a suitable menu to help my body gradually adapt to this new diet. The first dish was blue rare beefsteak. Both sides of the meat were seared just enough, served with butter sauce and a sprinkle of pepper. The meat remained fresh and tender without having an overpowering metallic taste. Watching the look of discomfort on Carolyn's face made the piece of meat in my mouth taste even more delicious. After my body had adjusted to digesting blue rare beefsteak, Charles started preparing dishes that were progressively rawer over the next few days. First, he served steak tartare, completely raw minced beef. Then came basashi, a Japanese dish made of raw horse meat. And the final dish, the graduation meal from my raw meat training, was shiru, a dish of live fish. Watching the little fish squirm on the soup spoon, I suppressed the guilt and a flicker of fear before eating them.
Davis, you've lost your mind. This is not something a human being should be eating.
Why not? Charles's skills are impeccable. This tastes 1,000 times better than the live rat I once ate.
Charles, this is all your fault. You're corrupting my son. What kind of monster are you trying to turn him into? Pumpkin, gouge his eyes out for me.
She's always been like this, resolving everything with violence and blaming others for her misery. But this time, I won't just quietly endure.
Davis, your hand.
It's just a small cut.
Davis, did you really hit your brother because of a servant? He's nothing but a bloodthirsty monster. You should stay far away from him.
I couldn't take it anymore. What absurd delusion was she having this time? Forcing me to see a hairy ape as my brother and demanding I abandon the only person I could confide in. What a joke. I returned to my room and quickly treated my wound. Looking at myself in the mirror, I finally realized something. Ever since switching to a raw meat diet, I feel stronger. My complexion looks healthier and my teeth seem sharper, like a true predator.
Pumpkin! Pumpkin, where are you?
What is she and that crazy monkey up to now? Has the monkey gone missing? That's fine. I should thank whoever got rid of my little brother.
Davis, it's me.
I opened the door for Charles. The metallic scent of blood mixed with herbs wafting from the tray in his hands piqued my curiosity.
You didn't eat much at lunch, so I prepared an afternoon snack for you. This is herb-steamed brain. It's very nutritious and it won't taste too bloody when eaten fresh.
If this were before, The sight of that red brain would have disgusted me for the entire day. But ever since I started eating Charles's raw meat dishes, these faintly bloody meals have become irresistibly appealing to me.
You're really enjoying it, aren't you? I might consider letting you try more organ-based dishes.
Charles, you devil! Get out here and pay for what you've done to my son. Davis, do you even know what you just ate? That's your brother's brain.
I looked at Charles in shock. I never liked that crazy monkey. But what possible reason would Charles have to do something so cruel?
Kill him for me.
Everything happened too fast. Before I could think, the servants stormed in and attacked Charles. Had everyone lost their minds? Who's the real master of this house? I shouted. Stop this at once! The last word caught in my throat as a cold, piercing sensation spread through my chest. I'd been shot? How was that possible?
You ate your brother's brain and defended the devil who killed him. You don't deserve to be my son.
That crazy woman.
Thanks for saying it for me, Charles. It seems he's stronger than I thought. My body felt weak and drained as darkness slowly enveloped me. I thought I was dead, but a sharp pain in my fingertips jolted me awake. I was still alive.
You're alive. Don't be surprised. It's something an ordinary human couldn't survive, but for a vampire like me, it's child's play.
Looks like my blood suits your taste, huh? I bet you had quite the feast.
Aren't you scared?
I was calmer than I expected. There had been so many strange signs, and now that Charles's true nature was revealed, everything started to make sense.
Here's the next dish in your blood replenishing menu. The liver of the one who shot a hole in your chest.
Even though I knew where that liver came from, I didn't feel disgusted. On the contrary, it made me even hungrier. Perhaps I had already become a bloodthirsty monster like Charles. Charles looked at me with satisfaction, his eyes glowing a fiery red.
Your blood, the blood of someone who only eats raw meat, is the finest I've ever tasted.
When I first started working at La Belle Cuisine, I thought I had a chance to prove myself in the world of high-end culinary arts. But dreams have a way of souring in the harsh reality of kitchen life. Instead of plating delicate entrees or learning the secrets of fine sauces, I found myself relegated to gorying task, peeling mountains of potatoes. The kitchen's damp environment seeped into my skin, turning it rough, scabbed, and unrecognizable. Chef Laurent was the worst. His booming voice echoed through the kitchen, barking orders and criticisms with no regard for who was in his path. I was his favorite target.
Paul!
He bellowed one afternoon, slamming a wooden spoon on the counter.
Even a monkey could peel faster than you. Are your hands broken?
The other cooks laughed. My cheeks burned, but I kept my head down, fingers trembling as I worked the peeler. Every day was the same. The final straw came during a staff tasting. I'd spent weeks experimenting with recipes after hours, crafting a dish I hoped would finally earn me some recognition. When Laurent announced a tasting session, I seized the opportunity and presented my creation, foie gras. Laurent took one bite and spat into the dish.
Garbage!
He declared.
Stick to peeling potatoes. That's all you're good for.
Laughter erupted again, louder this time. My vision blurred with tears, but I swallowed them back. I smiled and nodded, but inside, something cracked. That night, alone in the kitchen, I stared at the pile of peelings I'd left unfinished. The steel glint of the peeler caught my eye, and my reflection stared back, warped and jagged. Then Laurent's voice echoed in my head.
Stick to peeling.
I'd been slaving for months, bending over backward for Laurent, only to be humiliated time and time again. If all he saw in me was someone to scrape and discard, maybe I'd give him exactly that. I threw myself into peeling, my knife flashing through tuber after tuber, sweat dripping from my brow onto the growing mound of mashed potatoes. My hands, calloused from relentless labor, began to ache. Without realizing it, the blade slipped, slicing through one of the hardened calluses on my palm. The sliver of skin fell onto the pile of potatoes, almost indistinguishable from the starchy flesh. I froze, staring at the tiny piece of myself nestled among the mash. An idea took root in my mind, grotesque yet irresistible. What if? Driven by exhaustion and a twisted sense of rebellion, I picked up the peeler. Slowly, deliberately, I shaved off another patch of rough skin. The pain was sharp but fleeting, and the satisfaction of reclaiming control was exhilarating. I examined it, transfixed. It was almost poetic, the way my own body could be reduced to nothing but scraps, just like the potatoes, just like Laurent wanted. I mixed the pieces into the mash, seasoning it with salt, pepper, and herbs. The next day, the dish was a hit. Customers raved about the unique depth of the mashed potatoes, praising Laurent for his ingenuity. He basked in the accolades, his chest puffed out with pride, while I stood in the shadows, silently savoring my secret. But the praise didn't change my position. Laurent continued to belittle me, taking full credit for the dishes I prepared. Oddly though, I no longer felt humiliated when peeling potatoes. That night, I stood in front of the mirror, peeling tool in hand. The first time had been an act of rage, but now it felt like power. The kitchen became my domain of transformation. My worsening skin condition provided ample material to mix into the potatoes. Scabs, patches of dry skin, even the occasional drop of blood, all found their way into the mash. With each strip of skin I removed, I felt lighter, freer. I was no longer just Paul, the potato peeler, the kitchen grunt. I'd gather the strips, mix them into the batch of mashed potatoes. I was the secret ingredient, the thing that made their meals unforgettable. The restaurant's reputation soared. Laurent basked in the glory, oblivious to the true source of his newfound success. But my body didn't heal the way I expected. Where I'd peeled, the skin didn't grow back. Instead, strange, pale patches emerged, soft and glistening like raw fish. The pain became a constant hum, but it didn't matter. The dishes were all that mattered. Then, one night, as I prepared another dish, Laurent burst into the kitchen, red-faced.
What is this?
He demanded, slamming a bowl onto the counter. I froze. The broth shimmered with an oily sheen, and tiny pale fragments floated to the surface, pieces I hadn't chopped finely enough.
Explain yourself!
He roared, grabbing my arm. His grip tightened, pulling up my sleeve. The bandages unraveled, revealing the patchwork of raw flesh beneath. His eyes widened in horror.
What have you done?
He whispered, his voice barely audible over the pounding of my heart. I smiled, the first genuine smile I'd felt in months. I've been giving you what you wanted, chef. A piece of me in every dish. Laurent stumbled back, clutching his stomach. His face turned pale as the realization hit. The critic, the patrons, the accolades, all built on the foundation of my sacrifice. He retched, the sound echoing through the silent kitchen. I turned back to the cutting board, the peeler gleaming under the fluorescent lights. There was still so much more to give.
I'm Katie. Or at least that's the name I've adopted for the internet. You probably know me, or knew me, as the blindfolded mukbang YouTuber who captivated millions with my silent, bizarre eating broadcasts. My channel skyrocketed because of the mystery I cultivated. A simple gimmick: never show my face, never speak, and always eat ravenously, like I hadn't touched food in days. It worked. Bruises on my wrist, Morse code taps on my plates, cryptic captions with capitalized SOS letters, every little detail carefully planned to keep viewers hooked. They speculated endlessly. Is she kidnapped? Is she being held against her will? Who's behind the camera? The truth? No one was behind the camera but me. I wasn't a victim. I was the mastermind, and I made a killing off it, literally and figuratively. At first, my fabricated cries for help were enough to pull in views. Every video made me richer. I never imagined making money could be this easy. It felt like I'd found my talent. I planned a new angle, something to keep the audience guessing. So I came up with the idea for private live streams, pay-to-watch exclusives. My fans ate it up, both figuratively and literally. During the first live stream, I repeatedly pressed my head into a large bowl of sauce, as if someone were forcefully pushing me down. The chat exploded. Who's hurting you? Why isn't she fighting back? Is she okay? Kate, we're here for you, just give us a sign. The tips poured in. The live stream was a massive success, but it came with a problem. Comments shifted from concern to skepticism. She's faking it, they'd say. This is all for attention. Some even presented compelling evidence to prove their point. They weren't wrong. I needed a new plan. That's when I brought Joel into the picture. Joel was a struggling actor I found through an extras group. I pitched him the idea. He'd play my captor, forcing me to eat during live streams while I pretended to beg for mercy. Joel was hesitant at first, but the promise of money changed his mind. Our first joint live stream was electric. Joel loomed behind me, occasionally barking orders as I stuffed food into my mouth. The chat went wild. This is insane. Someone call the police. Katie, are you okay? The more desperate I acted, the more money came in. For weeks, the plan worked perfectly. Joel and I split the profit, and my channel reached heights I'd only dreamed of. But then, Joel started getting too into his role. It was during our third live stream together. Something felt off the moment we started. Joel's demeanor had changed. He wasn't just playing the part, he was embodying it.
Eat!
He growled, shoving a massive crab leg in front of me. I played along, taking exaggerated bites, but Joel wasn't satisfied. He grabbed a handful of shrimp and pushed it toward my face.
More!
He demanded. The chat exploded. Oh my God, this is too real. Why everyone keeps saying she's acting? She's a good actress? Someone needs to stop this. Huh. At first, I thought Joel was improvising for dramatic effect. But when I tried to signal for him to ease up, a subtle tap on the table we'd agreed upon, he ignored me. Joel, that's enough, I whispered, my voice barely audible under the sounds of chewing. He leaned in close, his breath hot against my ear.
This isn't what you wanted, Katie.
My stomach dropped. Joel grabbed a handful of food and stuffed it into my mouth harder this time. I gagged, my blindfold slipping as I tried to push him away. I tried to spit out the food and scream, but Joel's hand clamped over my mouth.
Keep eating. The show must go on.
Desperation kicked in. I reached for the only weapon I had, the food itself. Grabbing the greasy seafood plate, I hurled it at Joel's face. He recoiled, momentarily stunned. I seized the chance to run, tearing off the blindfold and sprinting out of the room. I didn't stop running until I reached the police station. My story spilled out between gasps for air, but the officers didn't seem convinced. When I showed them the text between Joel and me, they raised their eyebrows.
These messages make it clear this was all planned.
It wasn't supposed to be real, I shouted, but they didn't care. To them, I was just a desperate YouTuber trying to go viral. Now, I'm back home. Every door locked, every window bolted shut. My YouTube channel is gone, my social media accounts deleted. But the fear remains. Yesterday, I received an email from an unknown sender. Isn't this what you wanted, Katie? No attachments, no context, just that one sentence. I don't know where Joel is now, but I can't shake the feeling that he's watching me. Somewhere, out there, he's waiting for me to let my guard down. Anna Perez, 22 years old, works at a bar. She went missing after her shift. No friends, no family came forward to report it. She's the fourth victim in the past 3 months. All the victims are women working in the red light district. All of them disappeared mysteriously, with no witnesses or useful evidence to go on.
Hey, Gabby. I bought you some of those famous tacos from the stand outside headquarters. You're thinking about those missing person cases again, aren't you?
Yes, I am. I keep feeling like there's some connection between the cases.
There's nothing to it. The security in that area is a mess. Girls working in that district, how many of them live clean lives? Who's to say they didn't borrow money from some gang and run away? Sometimes you have to ignore the things you see. If you get too deep into it, the one who ends up hurt will be you.
I understand. Thanks, Joel. I'm Gabby, a police officer. I can't turn a blind eye to the crimes happening in my jurisdiction, especially when the victims are nothing but vulnerable young women. I returned home and quickly summarized the witness statements I had collected.
Spit out the piece of meat you swallowed from me! Hurry!
Why on earth would I have such a bizarre dream? What on earth is the hidden truth behind all of this? Exactly 7 days later, I received another report of a missing person. This time, once again, it was a young woman named Sue, another worker from the red light district. I opened the window to get some fresh air. I noticed the taco truck had reopened today. Thinking back, these mysterious disappearances always happened just a few days before the taco truck resumed business. The string of coincidences made me suspicious. I decided to investigate. I'll take 1 taco, please.
You're lucky. That's the last one I have.
Is it because you only open on certain days each month that your tacos are so sought after?
Exactly. My truck only opens on special religious holidays for the caster faith. Days for sharing love. Oh, nothing too unusual.
Thank you. The caster faith? Seems like she let something slip there.
Enjoy your meal.
Back at the office, I immediately started investigating the caster faith that Amila had mentioned. It was an ancient sect of the indigenous people, riddled with strange and barbaric practices like many other cults. But what caught my attention was the history of caster followers being arrested for performing human sacrifice rituals and consuming the victims as a way to absolve their own sins. A chilling sensation ran down my spine. Could the taco I ate really be normal? Unable to suppress my unease, I began searching through the filling for anything unusual. After sifting through the pieces of slightly dark-colored meat, a corner of a black dahlia tattoo emerged before my eyes. It was an exact match to the tattoo on the body of the most recent victim. This taco was made from human flesh. The truth was beginning to unfold, but to secure a warrant for Amila's arrest, I needed DNA confirmation from both the victim and the meat sample. Just then, a bank officer called to inform me that someone had used Anna's credit card. Extract all CCTV footage from the area and send me an image of the suspect as quickly as possible.
What's going on, Gabby?
I have a breakthrough in my case. I have to go now. Joel, help me get this meat sample and Sue's hair sample tested. Even if we don't have a solid conclusion yet, I'm sure Amila is connected to this case. Instead of waiting for a search warrant, I decided to break into her house to look for direct evidence. With some luck, I might even save her next victim. I searched every corner of the kitchen, but there was nothing suspicious. The entire space was spotless, as if it had just been thoroughly cleaned. Or perhaps this wasn't where she made the human meat tacos. As I was thinking, a message from the bank officer came through. To my surprise, the person using Anna's credit card was a man. Could it be that I have made a mistake? Impossible. Surely in this human taco case, Amila has an accomplice.
Looks like it's time to catch the nasty little mouse.
Amila, how did she come back so soon?
I used to sell seafood in the morning market. Fresh octopus, oysters, shrimp, abalone. My hands were always slick with brine, my nails cracked from prying open shells. Business used to be steady, but that changed when the vendor next to me started slashing prices, dirt cheap, desperate deals to lure in anyone. Soon, no one came to my stall anymore. By the end of each day, the ice would melt into bloody water, and the seafood sat there, unwanted, dying slow. Rent was due. My pantry was nearly empty. Even my old rice cooker gave up on me. One evening, as I sat on an overturned crate scrolling through my cracked phone, I stumbled across an online contest. A mukbang challenge, raw seafood only. Whoever got the most views would win a cash prize. I stared at my unsold octopus, still twitching slightly. The rules said live seafood brought the best engagement. The viewers were drawn to the drama, the visceral thrill, the rawness of it all, the grotesque spectacle that unfolded on their screens. And while it all felt absurd and ridiculous to me, I knew deep down that I had nothing left to lose. That night, I set up a small ring light I bought years ago. I sat in my cramped kitchen with a tray of writhing tentacles and hit record. The first bite was the hardest. The suction cups clung to my tongue, slapping against my lips like they were alive. They were. I chewed quickly, swallowing down my revulsion. My throat itched, my lips tingled. Still, I finished the tray, edited the footage, and uploaded it. By morning, the video had exploded. 1 million views, then 2, then 5. My inbox flooded with comments. King of Octopus! Look at the size of those tentacles. What a legend. I checked the prize page. I had won. But more than that, the algorithm kept feeding my video to hungry eyes. And hungry eyes paid. Viewers begged for more. Try abalone next. Eat 5 oysters at once. Do a challenge, an hour of raw octopus. So I listened. Every night, whatever didn't sell, I ate. Squirming shrimp, slippery mussels, thick slices of raw tuna that bled onto my chin. The worse it looked, the more they loved it. Money rolled in. At first, I used it to fix the rice cooker, restock my kitchen. Then, I stopped selling seafood altogether. Why sell it for pennies when I could eat it for thousands? But something started to change. After each video, I felt wrong. My stomach clenched in waves. My skin broke out in hives, crawling with heat. At first, I blamed it on freshness. I told myself the seafood had just sat too long. I bought antihistamines and carried on. But one morning, I noticed something on my arm. A tiny lump just below the skin, soft and round, like a bubble. Over the week, more appeared, on my wrist between my fingers. They pulse sometimes, subtly, disturbingly, almost as if they were alive. I ignored it. I had followers to feed, but it got worse. After each meal, the heat rushed to my face, my lips swelled unbearably, and the itching crept beneath my skin like something alive, constant and cruel. Still, the views were too good. I couldn't stop. My latest challenge was 3 kilograms of raw tiger shrimp. I managed maybe half before I had to stop and throw up. I scrubbed my face, cut out the scene, and uploaded anyway. This time, the response was lukewarm. Then the comments came. Cut video? Fake mukbang? He's not even chewing anymore. If you're real, do it live. Let's see it happen raw and unedited. One comment hit harder than the rest. Go live at the market. Eat there. If you do it for real, I'll donate double. My stomach churned, not out of fear, but from a deeper hunger. A hunger that wasn't mine. Something darker. Something growing inside me. Still, I agreed. The next morning, I returned to the market, not as a seller, but as a performer. I set up a folding table piled high with seafood. I returned to the very stall where I once bled my hands, cracking shells and chasing sales. Now, it hosted my return as something else entirely. A crowd gathered fast, phones up, streaming live. I smiled at the camera, lifted a massive octopus, and bit in. I forced myself to chew, swallowing the writhing mass with an effort that turned my stomach. And as I reached for another bite, the sound of applause erupted around me, eager and unrelenting. I reached for another tentacle, but the moment I bit down, my throat refused it. I gagged, then dropped to my knees. My vision blurred, and my chest heaved with a rising, uncontrollable panic. Then I felt them, dozens of them bursting under my skin. The lumps on my arms rippled. Something writhed inside them. I screamed. The skin peeled off in strips. Beneath, rows of suckers glistened like birthmarks, twitching as if tasting the air. My fingers twitched involuntarily, curling into themselves as spasms shot through them like electric pulses, each one sharper and more foreign than the last. The tips of my fingers split open, and from within, something dark and glistening began to slither out. The crowd gasped, then scattered in shrieking chaos. My stomach swelled, round and tight like a drum. Inside, something began to move. It kicked, it spun, it twisted restlessly. Then came the tearing. My shirt split open. Then something burst through the taut skin of my abdomen, wet and glistening, slick with a purplish sheen. It revealed tentacles, longer and stronger than anything I had ever seen or dared to swallow. I passed out to the sound of ambulance sirens, the smell of brine and bile thick in my nose. They took me to the hospital, or so I was told. I can't eat anymore. Not because I'm sick, because they are. And they are always hungry.
Patient Kim is suffering from severe poisoning. According to the test results, the toxin originated from the luminous octopuses. It's possible they were contaminated by some form of mutation.
We'll investigate the source of the toxin.
Mukbang was everywhere. Everyone was doing it. Every time I opened YouTube, someone was stuffing food into their mouth like they were on a timer. The louder the slurping, the more views. I figured if they could do it, I could too. I set the lights, curated a pastel aesthetic, a table full of noodles, mochi, chicken wings, sauce dripping like blood. Then, reality hit. I didn't even make it through 1/5 of the spread. My stomach clenched. I vomited midstream. No one watched. No one cared. That night, I realized something cruel and honest. Normal doesn't trend anymore. People don't follow you because you're good. They follow you because you're memorable, weird, uncomfortable, unforgettable. So I pivoted to makeup. Beauty content always had loyal eyes. I wasn't a guru, but I knew enough. Contour tricks, dewy foundation, liner wings sharp enough to kill. I started going live, trying looks, doing get ready with me, whispering affirmations with fake confidence. And then it happened. In the middle of one stream, while demonstrating a serum dropper, a drop slipped past my lips. It tasted like perfume and ammonia. I gagged, my face twisted in revulsion. The comments exploded. They called it iconic, chaotic energy, too real. I didn't expect it to go viral, but the next day, the clip had over 600,000 views. People shared it, memed it, reenacted it. She ate the glow. Me accidentally eating shampoo as a kid. For the first time in my life, I was trending. PR packages started arriving. Lipsticks, masks, foundation sticks, perfume oils. Brands asked me to unbox, to review, to smile prettier. I felt like I'd made it. But fame is like sugar on the tongue. Sweet, fast, and then gone. A week later, views tanked again. The brands moved on. The inbox went dry. I paced my tiny apartment, eyes twitching from caffeine and ring light glare. I needed to be shocking again. I needed something grotesquely beautiful. What if I combined mukbang with makeup? The first time was rough. I applied blush, posed for the camera, and bit into the compact. The powder crumbled in my teeth, dry and bitter like old chalk. My tongue went numb. My throat itched. I forced a smile. It smells good. I lied. So it must taste good, right? I edited it to perfection. Bright filters, jazz music, kawaii overlays. Then I uploaded. Next morning, 2.7 million views. People were horrified and obsessed. Some mocked me. Some called me mentally ill. But others thought I was faking it. It's just candy shaped like makeup. She's trolling. No way she actually ate that. The crunch sound is edited. They thought I was a liar, so I decided to prove them wrong. I scheduled a live stream. Real makeup mukbang, nothing fake. Watch me eat. I arranged the table like a banquet from hell. A lip gloss charcuterie. Sheet masks folded like crepes. Serum-filled wine glasses. Cotton pads soaked in toner, stacked like macarons. The viewers flooded in. 20k viewers, 50k, 90k. I raised a lipstick to my mouth, bit down. The wax snapped like bone. Bitter oil filled my mouth. I chewed slowly, staring straight into the lens. Comments flew by. She's actually doing it. WTF. Art? This is art. The more I ate, the easier it got. I found textures I liked. Glossy, velvety, crumbly. There was something deeply satisfying about it, like I was feeding a hunger I never knew existed. My body didn't like it, not at first. I got dizzy. My tongue swelled. My stomach felt like it was lined with fire. But I didn't stop, because the numbers kept rising. I was finally being seen. The brands dropped me, of course. Some sent cease and desists. Others ghosted me. But new people found me. Dark corners of the web that celebrated extremity. They dared me to go further. Drink setting spray. Eat a face mask whole. Let's see you swallow glitter. And I did. Every time. Soon, I couldn't go a day without it. Off camera, I snacked on powder compacts. I kept a pallet by my bedside like comfort food. My skin turned raw. Red patches crept up my neck. My eyes leaked. I scratched until I bled, but I covered it up. With more makeup. Always more makeup. For my magnum opus, I planned the beauty banquet. I spent days curating it, baking foundation into cookies, melting lipstick into sauces, turning mascara into syrup. I lit candles, adjusted the camera, scheduled the live stream. When I went live, 100,000 people joined within minutes. The chat screamed. Some were terrified. Some were mesmerized. I was high on validation. I bit into a sponge. It tasted like heaven. My throat tingled. My chest bloomed with warmth. I kept eating. Then, I noticed the rash. Tiny red dots swelling into blisters. My skin was bubbling. My neck looked like boiling wax. Comments flooded. Is this makeup or disease? Filter? No filter? Turn off the stream. But I couldn't stop. I was so close to hitting 1 million live views. So I smiled, teeth smeared with glitter, and swallowed another mask. Then it hit. My throat clenched, like fingers inside me twisting. I couldn't breathe. My vision spiraled. I reached for water, but my arm didn't respond. It just dangled, twitching, like a broken puppet. I collapsed, face first into the table of cosmetics. My cheek burst open on the corner of an eyeliner tube. Blood mixed with blush. The comments kept flowing. Is this performance art? OMG, she's actually dying. Call someone? But no one did. Now I live in fragments, in clips, in sound bites, in every girl who thinks a little glitter in her soup might be cute. You think I'm gone? I'm not. I'm in your algorithm, in every viral makeup prank, in every beauty challenge that goes just a little too far. So next time someone eats something for laughs, next time you watch and say, she's just faking it, remember me, because I wasn't faking. And once you let attention inside, it never stops eating.
To my surprise, the person using Anna's credit card was a man. Could it be that I've made a mistake? Impossible. Surely in this human taco case, Amila has an accomplice.
Looks like it's time to catch the nasty little mouse.
Amila, how did she come back so soon? I quickly hid in one of the rooms. Whatever Amila's words meant, my instincts told me that if she caught me, nothing good would come of it. She entered the room, her footsteps growing louder as she got closer to my hiding spot. I held my breath, heart pounding, but thankfully she didn't seem interested in checking the wardrobe. I wanted to escape this house as fast as I could, but just then, a notebook caught my eye. This was exactly what I had been looking for. I nervously opened the notebook. On the very first page, I saw a photo of Amila, and that man, Frank. My suspicions were spot on. They were indeed connected, though it seemed there was no marital tie between them. The notebook was like Pandora's box. The deeper I delved, the more horrifying truths came to light. The caster cult had indeed been sacrificing victims and eating their flesh. They even took photos to document their achievements. All the missing victims had been turned into their food. It was beyond disgusting. At that moment, the wardrobe door burst open without warning. The sudden flood of light blinded me.
Found the little mischievous mouse.
My heart raced wildly. Acting on instinct, I mustered every bit of training I had from the police academy and attacked the two figures in front of me to try and escape. But my strength alone wasn't enough. I was facing two serial killers. Frank's biceps wrapped tightly around my neck, the searing pain making it feel as though my neck could snap at any moment. I struggled in vain, my vision dimming until everything faded to black. I had no idea how long I'd been unconscious. When I woke up, my whole body ached and my head was spinning. But the figure standing before me snapped me back to full awareness.
Finally awake. I've been waiting for you for a long time.
Joel, you scared me. Did our team manage to capture Frank and Amila? Why am I here? Why was Joel here? Did he save me? But why bring me to this place? This looked like a human slaughterhouse. Joel, can you get me out of here first?
You're too naive. Haven't you wondered how Amila found you so quickly?
Get away from me, you freak!
You little wretch. You filthy outsider. Only the purified followers of Castor are worthy of leading this world. The rest of you, you're nothing but reserve stock for us.
You're insane. People like you are the ones who deserve to be eliminated by society and punished by the law. At that moment, Frank and Amila entered the room.
High Priest, is everything all right?
High Priest, are you hurt?
I've made my decision. This sinner here will be the next sacrifice for the day of sharing. Until then, make her suffer and atone for all of us.
Excellent. Let this sinner become divine sustenance to cleanse us.
For the sake of population control and purification!
I was terrified and utterly helpless. The people I was facing were no longer human. They were bloodthirsty monsters. They dressed me in a white gown and tied me to a large pillar. I looked like a helpless lamb awaiting slaughter. Then the butcher appeared, holding a thin blade and a silver platter. A chilling dread enveloped me. All I could do was scream in terror, but my cries seemed to excite him even more. With a swift, precise cut, he treated me like a giant block of cheese to be carved and scraped at his will. I was still alive, but it was a fragile existence, sustained only until the day of sharing. And with all the hatred Joel harbored for me, each day dragged on in agony. To them, I was nothing more than a substitute offering, a vessel for their so-called atonement. Finally, the day of sharing has arrived. I can no longer distinguish whether this marks the end of my days of suffering or the beginning of my ultimate torment. With all my remaining strength, I began my crazy plan of revenge. No matter the cost, I would not let those evil people get what they wanted. With a bottle of rust remover and some iron filings, I would create a deadly poison that would destroy me, but would also drag those who had harmed me to hell. The demons entered the room, but I was no longer afraid.
We offer this sinner as a sacrifice for atonement, so that we and those who consume her flesh may be cleansed of sin.
You can laugh now, but soon, my flesh and blood will kill you all.
Ore Lumina.
Ore Luminar.
Ore Luminar.
Ore Luminar.
The tacos made from my flesh will poison your customers. The police will come for you soon. I close my eyes with a satisfied smile, as if somewhere in the distance I hear the sound of police sirens, growing louder, enveloping me.
I opened a hamburger shop by the beach. Prime location, high foot traffic, postcard view of the ocean. The rent bled me dry, so I cut costs where I could. Bulk meat from sketchy suppliers, reused fryer oil until it was thick as syrup. Customers never noticed. Tourists didn't care. As long as it sizzled and came with pickles, they ate it. Business boomed. I told myself it was a temporary compromise, just until I got stable. But the profits were good, and the guilt was easy to ignore. Every time someone bit into one of my burgers and smiled, I buried the shame deeper. I kept the grill running, the oil hot, and the register full. No one ever asked about the meat, the oil, or the smell that sometimes lingered too long in the back alley. One afternoon, as I sliced open a new shipment of beef patties, I saw something glint inside a slab of meat. I pulled it apart with gloved fingers and froze. Embedded in the fatty tissue was a sliver of plastic, a piece of an ATM card, jagged and red. My stomach churned. What the hell had I been feeding people? I didn't think. I dumped the tainted meat down the sink that led straight into the sea. The ocean wouldn't talk. That's what I told myself. I stood there for a moment, watching the meat swirl away under the grey water, hoping it would sink, dissolve, vanish. That same evening, Henry came by. Henry used to work on the docks before he started delivering my supplies. We weren't friends, but he knew things. Too much, it turned out. He walked in with his usual smirk and pulled out his phone.
You know, Kyle, this is some grade A blackmail material. Meat origin tags, your supplier's crates, and oh, look here, is that a human bone in your grease trap?
I told him to shut up. He said I was going down unless I paid up or cut him in. I panicked. I shoved him. He slipped. His head cracked against the steel prep table. A dull, wet sound. Blood pooled fast. Too fast. He didn't get up. I stood frozen for a long time. Then I moved. I wrapped his body in trash bags, taped them tight, and at midnight dragged him to the far edge of the cliff. No one saw me. The tide was high and dark. I pushed the bundle over the edge and watched it sink into blackness. I thought I was safe. The guilt, again, was something I could lock away. But something under the surface had shifted. 3 days later, I heard the front window shatter. It was past midnight. I was in the back storage checking inventory when the crash echoed through the quiet. I grabbed the fire extinguisher and crept to the front. Rain battered the glass. Lightning flashed. And there, framed in the doorway, stood something that should not exist. It was vaguely human-shaped, but squared off, like a block. Its body was yellowed, sickly, and pocked with gaping holes, each ringed with swollen, pus-like edges. The thing twitched, jerked, like it didn't fully understand how to move. It opened one of its chest holes and spat out something wet. It slapped onto the floor. A poster, my store poster, soaked in oil, splattered in something red. It didn't speak, just stared through 2 dark hollows where eyes should have been. The holes on its body pulsed like lungs choking on sludge. I screamed, sprayed it in the face with the extinguisher, and bolted into the storage room. I locked the door, chest heaving. Silence. Then came the sound of something dragging itself across linoleum. Wet, deliberate. Then a soft thump. I crept to the door and peeked through the gap beneath. A shoe lay there. Not just any shoe. Henry's sneaker. The one with the duct tape across the sole. Beside it, half soaked and torn, was his employee ID. The name smudged, but still readable. H-E-N. I collapsed backward. My heart beat against my ribs like it wanted out. The sea hadn't erased him. It had returned him, or part of him. I didn't have time to process it. The door blew inward. The thing I now saw up close loomed over me. It didn't attack. Instead, it reached out with a lumpy arm, seized my wrist, and dragged my hand toward one of the seeping holes in its side. I struggled. It held firm. I screamed until my throat cracked. Its grip was spongy but unyielding, like wet rubber, and it radiated an impossible, clammy warmth. Then my hands breached the rim of the hole, a slick, fleshy tunnel that pulsed as if breathing. I gagged. Inside, my hand brushed against something soft, slimy, then rigid. Plastic. I pulled out a warped burger wrapper, waterlogged, crumpled, and soaked in thick bile. It let go, then grabbed me again. Another hole. More garbage. The hamburger's meat that contains a TM card. A straw. Part of a patty, still half raw. Each time I pulled something out, the creature let out a wheezing hiss and shrank a little more, its skin puckering, sagging like a sponge being wrung dry. It groaned, low and wet, as if in relief. Then I found something solid, heavy, a forearm bone broken at the elbow. I dropped it, backed away. The thing just stared. Its body shuddered, loose bits falling off like wet cake. It turned, crawled out through the busted door, dragging a trail of muck. It left behind a silence that felt wrong, too clean. By morning, the beach was coated in filth. Oil scum, bits of rotting meat, shredded bags, chunks of plastic. Tourists screamed. News vans rolled in, and a bloated human torso wrapped in familiar black trash bags. The police traced it all back to me. Cameras, records, Henry's ID, the footage of me hauling the bags. They never caught the creature, but they didn't need to. I'm in prison now, not for seeing a monster, but for feeding one, and for becoming one myself. Every night, I still hear that wet, dragging sound echo in my dreams. Sometimes I wake up with a phantom feeling of bile on my hands, and I wonder if the ocean spits back what we throw into it. What else is waiting to come ashore?
They called me Piggy. Not Peggy, not my real name, but Piggy. Because why not? They said it suited me better. A pig in a human's body, rolling in the mud of my own existence. I laughed along at first, pretending it didn't sting when Hannah joked about me breaking a chair in the cafeteria, or when Derek snorted every time I walked by. But no amount of pretending could dull the edge of their cruelty.
Hey, Piggy, you should thank us. At least we're giving you a personality,
Mia said once, smirking as she pointed at my reflection in the school's bathroom mirror. Their laughter echoed in my ears long after they left. I stared at the figure in the mirror, a round, soft girl with puffy cheeks and arms that seemed to expand beyond the frame. I hated her, hated myself, but not as much as I hated them. That's when I found the clinic. The flyer was tucked under the windshield of my old bike. Revolutionary body contouring, fat removal made affordable. The words felt like they were screaming at me. The clinic was tiny and unassuming, hidden in a crumbling building at the edge of the city. Dr. Tran greeted me with a smile that felt too wide, too eager.
You'll love the results,
she promised, her gloved hand gesturing toward a sleek hospital bed in the corner of the room. The procedure was simple, or so she claimed. A vacuum-like device would suck the fat straight out of my body, sculpting me into a thinner, more beautiful version of myself. But it wasn't simple. As the machine roared to life, I felt a searing pain rip through my calf. The fat bubbled and hissed, travelling through translucent tubes into a container that filled too quickly. My skin shrank behind it, sagging like a deflated balloon.
Don't worry,
Dr. Tran said, her voice almost cheerful.
We'll trim the excess skin. It's very valuable, you know. Perfect for burn victims and reconstructive surgery.
I was too woozy to care. They cut away the loose folds and stitched me up. When I looked in the mirror, my calves were smooth, almost sculpted. For the first time in years, I felt hopeful. Hope was fleeting. When I returned to school, the bullying didn't stop. It evolved.
Whoa, check it out.
Hannah sneered, pointing at my uneven legs.
Piggy's trying to become a Franken pig.
They laughed harder, louder. Derek made oinking noises, and Mia asked if I planned to sell the rest of my body for spare parts. My calves looked slimmer, yes, but the rest of me was still a patchwork of rolls and folds. That night, I booked another appointment. This time, it was my face and neck, then my arms. Each time, the pain was worse. The machine sucked and gurgled, pulling pieces of me away, leaving behind a body that felt foreign. Dr. Tran's assistants whispered in hushed tones about how my skin was exceptional. They always seemed more excited than they should have been.
You're doing such a good thing,
one nurse said as she packed my discarded skin into vacuum-sealed bags.
So many patients will benefit from your donations.
Donations? I hadn't signed up for charity. But when they waved away my bills, assuring me that my contributions covered the costs, I didn't complain. Then I had an idea. Why stop with just removing my fat? Why not use my newfound value to teach them a lesson? The plan unfolded in my mind like a perfect script. It started with Derek. I waited for him outside the gym, clutching the bottle of acid I bought online. One quick splash, and his screams filled the parking lot. Next was Mia, then Hannah. Each of them writhed under the burning chemical, their once perfect faces and bodies turning into melted canvases of raw, exposed flesh. But I wasn't done. Feigning concern, I rushed them to the clinic. Dr. Tran examined their injuries, her lips tightening.
We don't have enough graftable skin for all of them,
she said, shaking her head.
Not unless...
Her eyes flicked to me. I knew what she was thinking. They begged. Hannah, whose words once cut me deeper than any scalpel, clasped her blistered hands together and sobbed.
Please, Peggy, we'll pay anything. Just help us.
Derek offered his entire savings. Mia couldn't even speak. Her tongue had been burned, but her tear-filled eyes said enough. I suppose I can spare some, I said, pretending to hesitate. I scheduled the procedure for my stomach. As the machine sucked out the last vestiges of my once round belly, I imagined their faces, their desperation. Dr. Tran's team worked tirelessly to graft my skin onto their wounds. The process was excruciating. For them, of course. They screamed as the stitches pulled tight, as my flesh fused with theirs. I watched from the observation window, biting back laughter. But even after sacrificing so much, it wasn't enough.
You'll need more,
Dr. Tran explained.
Their injuries are too extensive.
That's when the arrangement began. My former tormentors, now grotesque patchworks of my flesh, started feeding me. They brought calorie-dense meals, forcing me to eat until my stomach ached. I gained weight quickly, my body swelling back to its old size. But this time I didn't mind. The more I grew, the more they suffered. They watched with hollow eyes as I laid on the table again and again, their futures quite literally growing on my skin. Now, we live in a fragile truce. Hannah, Derek, and Mia hover around me, desperate to keep me alive, healthy, fat. They need me. I'm their savior, their supplier, their punishment, and I've never felt more beautiful.